Hey, Shug here. We're gonna have a little hammock talk, and I kind of feel guilty about this because I've done a lot of hammock videos. But one thing that it seems like I miss a good bit, and a lot of other people that do hammock videos, is we always forget to show the hammock packed in its stuff sack. That I thought today, what I would do is rectify the situation, cleanse my soul, and show you all the hammocks that I have right now that I currently have in my Armada, and let you see them in their stuff sacks. Not going to do the suspensions because suspensions are personal. There's so many suspensions these days that just going to show you the hammocks in the stuff sack. I got a parcel of hammocks in the stuff sacks here. I heard you want to take a look at the size of the stuff sacks with the hammock still in it, not just hanging up between two trees like you always see. Take a gander at my current hammock Armada, more or less. Well, actually, it's not all of them, because I have stashed away some of my Superior Gear deep winter hammocks, and I'm not going to include those because they're pretty much specialty. They're pretty big. I carry those in a pulk. I'm just kind of looking at what I would call the 3-season hammocks right here. I'm going to use just a standard old Nalgene bottle that almost all of us have. It's just kind of a size comparison to in this unscientific experiment. Here we got the War Bonnet El Dorado. Single layer hammock, 11 foot long. It's got removable bug net, so you can use it with or without. I'm going to just say roughly about 13 and a half inches, 13 and 3/4, which is about the same, 34 and a half to 35 millimeters. With, let's just say 6 inches. El Dorado weighs in 1 pound, 5.8 ounces, which is 21.83 ounces, which is 619 grams. This is actually one of my smallest hammocks and lightest, the Superior Gear Starlight ultralight hammock. No underquilt built in. We are looking at a rough length of about 12 and a half inches, which would be 31 and a half millimeters. But that is about 5 inches or 13 millimeters. This is has a bug net on it. It is a double layer. Starlight is a 10-foot hammock. That is 1 pound, 2.6 ounces, 18.61 ounces, 528 grams. The Ridge Runner is a double layer hammock, and it has a bug net that's removable, or just keep it zipped on. But the bug net is in there right now, weighing with the bug net. Ridge Runner is, let's say, I'd say about 14 inches. That's just roughly 35 and 3/4 millimeters, thereabouts. Width-wise, looking at maybe, I don't know, maybe 6 and a half. And that's about roughly 16 millimeters, maybe 16 and a half millimeters. The weight with spreader bars is about 1,092.5 grams. That's about 2 pounds, 6.6 ounces. That's 38.55 ounces. Take a gander. Let's look at it. The Dream Hammock Raven. 11-foot hammock. It has a unique bug net design with a partial zipper and shock cord pulls around the head and feet. We're looking at a length of around, in its stuff sack, let's just say 14 inches, which is about 35 and a half to 36 millimeters. And that looks roughly 6 and a half inches wide. It's a pretty light hammock. It is 1 pound, 5.8 ounces, just 21.82 ounces. That is 617.5 grams. Here we go with the Dutchware Chameleon. It is one of the first iterations of it. And this one is about 13 and a half inches, which would be, again, I'm really learning my millimeters here. 33 to 33 and a half millimeters. This one is about less than 5 inches wide. This Chameleon is a single layer bug net. It has a little, it's a little, I forget what they call it. It's a peak shelf, but I have it at the foot to hold some items. So let's look at the weights. Let's go back to pounds and ounces here. This one is 1 pound, 10.2 ounces. Comes out to 26.21 ounces, 743 grams. Here we go with the Superior Gear 30-degree 10-foot hammock. And that is got a built-in underquilt. 10-foot hammock, single layer, actually kind of a double layer when you count in the built-in underquilt. So this is crammed in there pretty good. Keep in mind there's an underquilt in here, about 16 inches, which is, 41 millimeters. Oh, let's get a fair thing. I'd say 6 inches wide or so, which is about 15 and a half, 16 millimeters. And the Superior Gear 30-degree 10-foot hammock built-in underquilt comes out at 2 pounds, 7.4 ounces, which is 39 ounces, which is 1,117 grams. This is a Dutchware 11-foot hammock with a partial bug net. It's got kind of a long, skinny, double-ended stuff sack that he customized for me. I haven't used this in a while, but I have used it many a times. I just ended up not loving partial bug nets here in Minnesota. But the length on this one with a long, skinny stuff sack is about 17 and a half inches. It's about 44 millimeters. It's quite thin. I would say 4.5 inches, which is about 11.5 millimeters. 11-foot hammock, single layer. The Dutchware partial bug net 11-foot hammock at 14.1 ounces. So there you go, a little proof of that. And then grams, it is 400 grams. So that is a pretty light hammock right there. Now this is a very different hammock. It is a 90-degree hammock, meaning it doesn't hang head to foot. It hangs kind of shoulder to shoulder. It will go into chair mode. It is pad dependent. It's really a different thing. It is the Hammocks d'Amour, ultralight, extra large. It's their lightweight version, and I like that about it. It's looking to be about 13 and a half inches. That's about roughly 34 and a half millimeters. The width on it is about 6 1/4. It's about 16 millimeters. This is the Fijol XL ultralight pad. And I'm just including this. It's a real good pad for this hammock, but you can use your own pad in here. I have. It's just that the baffles have to run head to foot, not side to side. I think I forgot to put the Nalgene bottle in there, but that's about the size comparison there. And the weight on the D'Amour Ultralight XL. 2 pounds, 2.4 ounces, which is 34 ounces, which is 974.5 grams. That's the hammock alone. The Fijol XL Ultralight is 1 pound, 13.1 ounces. That is 29.12 ounces, which is 825 grams. And this is probably the largest setup of all that I have. This is the Haven hammock tent. So we have the hammock and the pad in there. It's really unique because it hangs differently. It is like a, you hang head to foot between the trees. It's really good for setting up on the ground. If you're going somewhere and you think you have to go to ground and you want to also hang, this is a really good option because it sets up on the ground easy. Yeah, I'm going to say that's about 18 and a half inches, which is about 47 millimeters. And we're looking at the width of these two together of about 9 inches, which is about 23 millimeters. All right. So the overall weight with the pad and the Haven setup here with the spreader bars in there, because it does use spreader bars, is 5 pounds, 12 ounces. So that's 91.96 ounces, and that comes out to 2,607.5 grams. I'd like to take a moment here And I like to delve deep into squishability. Are you with me on this? You better be, because it's happening. Okay, let's take a look at what I call the squishability factor. So here's the War Bonnet Eldorado. And you know, you're thinking about putting it in your pack. You can smash it down. This smashes down pretty well. It's got a little room. And then you lay it back out, you can see the stuff sack kind of expand. Well, definitely expand. Well, that's kind of fun. So here we got the Superior Gear 30 degree 10 foot. You can squish that down in your pack. Squishability. It's kind of like a little concertina. Here is the War Bonnet Ridge Runner. That will pack down much smaller. The Dream Hammock Raven. Very squishable. We went from that to that. The Starlight by Superior Gear. It goes from here to there. Dutchware Chameleon. Squishable? Yes. Squishable. Hammock Dromore. Now it even has a strap around the side to make it more squishable. And we go from this length and we squish it down. So like that. So yes, squishable. The Dutchware Partial Bug Net in the long bag. Is it squishable? Very squishable, or fold in halfable. The Haven, not so much. Not a lot of squishability factor there because you got your spreader bars inside. I could squish the hammock down a little bit, but those spreader bars still stick out. Of course, you could take them out of there, but the pad's not going to squish down very much. So squishability factor, not much. I'm gonna level with you. I don't think I've ever said squishability that much in my life. I'm not sure that I've ever said that word at all, but you know, when I get a hammock and I'm looking at the sizes online, because the problem is, and I'm guilty of this, we very rarely show you the hammock in the stuff sack. So I often think about, when I'm loading my pack, how much space is it going to take in the pack, and will it squish down at all? Now you probably noticed as we were doing this that a lot of the hammocks are in what's called a double-ended stuff sack, meaning it opens on both ends. So you can pull your hammocks out each end and have this on one end or the other. Though the guys at Superior Gear Hammock it's a stuff sack that's just a one-ended, single-ended stuff sack, closed on the back with a little strap to hold it so you can pull it open. And you may have noticed while I was showing this, there's a couple of loops on here, and you can have some mini beaners. You can take your stuff sack and hang it off your ridge line. So thus that becomes a little bit of a storage sack. All secure in Sector 7. Woo, buddy! Hey, Shug here. Obvious, right? I feel horrible about it. My guilt runs so deep. The world is my oyster, and you are my pearl.